Hello, and welcome to Event Planning Part 3. This is a 4-part class series, and this is Part 3. So, if you've followed us along with the other classes so far, we have covered Autocrat, we've covered Aenesocrat, Feastocrat, and Security Crat. Today we'll be doing Fundcrat, Fundraiser Crat, Troll Crat, Reeve Crat, and Site Crat. Again, if you would allow me to welcome our amazing panelists, Countess Feywellin and Dark Lord Darian. As always, I'm Admiral Ann Cash. Most people just call me Admiral. If you're here with us, please let us know here in Twitch chat. Please just give us a wave. Let us know you're there. You can communicate and ask us questions throughout this class on either the Twitch chat or on our Discord for the Nine Blades Discord and the Featured Park text channel. Please, if you would, just tag me in either of those when you do have questions so that we can find those a lot easier. Just folks tend to chat in chat, which is totally fine, but it can make it really hard for us to find the questions. So if you could just tag me, much appreciated. And I will be reading off the questions to our guests so that we can all get them. So again, if you're here with us, please give us a shout out, let us know that you're here. And if you can hear us okay, if you can see us okay, and we will begin. Sorry, one more thing. Again, forgot to mention, we do have a 20-second delay in chat for Twitch, so we will be seeing any comments you make 20 seconds after you have made them. So please bear with us. We will go back and answer all those questions as they come in. If there are no issues, we will begin. Okay, so our first discussion will be for fundraising Crat. As all the other ones, we're gonna go by section, your bid, your pre-event, the event, and your post-event. So, for the bid, if you are the fund Crat for an event, you're going to want to explain on the bid what your name is, that you are a part of this bid. You're going to want to express where the money that you are raising is going to. And you're going to want to explain the type of fundraiser it is. For the pre-event, this is all the things that you're going to be doing after the bid is accepted. You're part of the team. Your bid team has passed. Now what, right? You're going to want to advertise. You want to make sure that folks know that there is a fundraiser happening, the cause, you know, what you're doing it for, if there are any donations you need to accept to pull off said fundraiser. You're going to want to explain any sort of particulars that are involved with it. And again, just making sure that folks are fully aware that it is happening, and just keeping up that communication. Again, announcing where it is, where it's going, right? I cannot express how crucial this is. If you don't express where it's going, that's a huge issue. And you are likely not also going to have folks that will be willing to donate to the cause or even donate items for it. You have to be sound, especially if you're doing fundraising for like an organization. If there's no information about this organization whatsoever, the individuals that might be helping you out with it may not know that it is a legitimate organization, and there will be concerns. So also do your research. Make sure that you know this is legitimate if you are doing something outside. If you're doing a fundraiser for your park, for your treasury, for liability insurance, for my park when we do indoor location, those are pretty straightforward and pretty self-explanatory, and you don't really have to go too far of the legitimacy of them. But it needs to be clear that you're doing so. You need to collect all the donations that that you will be auctioning off, if that is the type of auction, type of fundraiser you are doing. If you're doing an auction, right, you need the items to auction off. So when you're doing the advertising, you're asking for those donations. This is the point where you're going to collect those. If you're doing something online, you're going to want to make sure that you have pictures of all the items. If you are doing it in person, you can have the items be brought to the event. You just need to make sure that you coordinate with the individual that is, all the individuals that are bringing items to make sure that they remember to bring them, and that they have the ability to bring them. And if they themselves cannot attend the event, organizing how somebody maybe from their park can bring it in their absence. Incentives. When you have lots of folks willing to donate items, it's good to have an incentive, but not only just an incentive, but a thank you. So sometimes we'll do non-noble titles for those that are willing to donate. Sometimes they can be custom. If folks are willing, you could have an art item and have every item that you bring, you get a raffle ticket to win said item. I've done that one a few times. Those tend to go over well. If you are doing a non-noble title, you need permission from your monarch to grant those, because you yourself will not just automatically be able to give those, right? So make sure that you do have any permission that you need to go forward with those types of incentives. Okay, so next point. Real quick, is there anyone that has any questions, for one thing, and would anyone else like to interject at any point for anything that we've covered so far? Yeah, go for it. Sorry, I'm just going a mile a minute here. Please forgive me. Go ahead.
All good. I didn't want to interrupt you. So, when talking about raffles and other games that you can do to raise money, something that you want to consider is jumping over to, if you're in the province of Ontario, you're going to want to jump over to the AGCO website. The Alcohol and Gaming Commission of Ontario. Some raffles, 50-50 draws, auctions. Depending on what you're auctioning or what you're doing, you might also have to worry about the legality of it. Anytime I've had to deal with them, they're great. You just shoot them an email and they'll get back to you with the information you need to know and whether or not you need to grab a license for it. Some of the licenses get pretty pricey, some don't. But that's Ontario, so do be aware of the jurisdiction you're in when you're looking into that. So if anyone is watching from Michigan, the AGCO is not going to cover you. But if the jurisdiction of the online thing you're doing is in Ontario, then it will cover you. So there's a couple of loopholes you have to look at and be very careful about when you're doing things, because I don't know what the governing body is in Quebec for the Gaming Commission. But they may have different legalities, and they might hold certain legalities on stuff that we don't in Ontario. So definitely worth poking your nose in on their website. For Ontario, it's agco.ca, or gc.ca, I think. Go on Google, AGCO, you'll find it. Auction items, do be careful. Some items that you would throw into an auction in Ontario, bows, any actual real steel weaponry or things like that, you have to be careful on what's considered a weapon by law, and you might want to just stop by your local police department and ask, just so you're not selling a registered I'm not going to say firearm, but any controlled substances, homebrew alcohol, hunting equipment. They tend to frown on that a little bit. So make sure you're familiar with those jurisdictions before you start giving things away to people who might be 14 years old. Definitely look into the legalities on this before you start accepting money.
Yeah. Also, additionally, just that was a fantastic point I wanted to add on that. Especially if you're doing things that are in different countries, right? So depending on whether you're in the States or in Canada, right? Even that is very different. Sorry, I can't right? Bye-bye. For instance, you cannot have actual nunchucks up in Canada. I did not know that. I came from the US. Didn't know that. Ninja stars, also totally illegal up here. There, what was it? There's a candy that is a chocolate thing with a toy inside.
Kinder Surprise.
Kinder. That's illegal.
Kinder Surprise.
In the States.
Yeah.
The Food and Drug
Not up
Administration.
here.
Actually,
So
I don't
it's
remember
really
which
good to know
state
these
it is.
things.
I don't remember which state it is. It's on the border with Canada. You can take a sharpened weapon, I think, into the state, but you cannot bring a sharpened weapon back into Canada, even if it's the same piece of equipment, because of the border and the laws and the way they're written. So, international borders, huge concern.
Yeah.
Do make sure that somebody who buys a item at auction can still take it home.
Yes, for sure. Right, and also if you're donating items, definitely know what is legal in which countries, especially if you're coming up, right? If you are in the States and you're coming up to like one of our events like Bot D and donating to that items, right? Again, there's certain things that are legal in the States are in Canada and vice versa, so it's important to know what those types of things are. So if you are concerned about those things, right, you can always go with like the super safe stuff that will totally be fine, right? If I make a stick figure and sell that for 5 cents, I was gonna say penny, but we don't have pennies up here anymore. Right? I know that I'm not gonna have to deal with any sort of country legality issues for my 5-cent doodle. Should be good. Right? Things like that. You can always just make sure that you're going with safe things. Also, if you are the Fundacrat, right, make sure you know what those things are, because don't expect that people donating will automatically know these things. Most likely they will not. So if you know all the rules and how it works, you can make sure that you can choose whether or not to accept an item. You can let them know that there are issues. If there's other things that they would like to donate instead, that those are options for them, but that regretfully we won't be able to accept X. I think that, yeah. Lisa, Countess Faye
My turn. Okay.
Tag, you're it.
So you mentioned fundraising for other agencies and
Yes.
being very open about what agencies you're doing. So if you are not fundraising for something that is AmpGuard, i.e., you are fundraising for Canadian mental health, which we do, you need to have your bid go through the board of directors. The board of directors needs to be involved with any outside agency charities that we are involved with, and they need to be involved in all of the finances that go to the charity. There has to be a lot of oversight when we're dealing with, even with food fight and stuff like that, that's all supposed to go through the BOD. Anybody who's an outside entity needs to go through the business of the BOD. So if you think you want to fundraise for an outside organization, your bid, talk to the BOD, talk to the CEO, talk to one of the directors, and they'll bring it up, and it actually needs to go and be okayed by them, as well as any, like, you can't just, I'm going to fundraise under the AmpGuard name, because, yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, if we're not responsible in the way we fundraise, we can lose our NPO status.
Yes.
So
Yeah, it's a liability. Fundraising for charities is very serious business, believe it or not. It's not as easy as opening a lemonade stand anymore and donating the money, because if we're donating under our organizational name, then we need to be responsible for that. Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. So definitely, before you fundraise for any outside agencies, any outside charities, please talk to the board of directors and get their okay first.
Yeah.
I don't know
When
if it's
in
like
doubt,
that in
remember
states.
the liabilities.
Yeah, I know it's here. I'm talking about Ontario specifically. Our board of directors does require it. It's in our bylaws. I'm not sure if this extends on card, but it really should because it is the business thing, best practices, but I'm not going to tell you how to run your kingdom. Ontario, do that, definitely.
So on that point, right, make sure that you check out the bylaws, the Kapora, right, depending on your kingdom, to see what the regulations are, what the standard practices. You, when you're dealing with liability, you have to take that super serious. You don't want a mess up on your end to risk your entire kingdom losing their liability insurance. You don't do it. Just don't do it. Know exactly what you're doing. Be smart about it. Just do your research. Make sure that everything is super legit. And if you have concerns, consider maybe don't do it. You have to be solid. You have to be very solid. So make sure that everything is super legit, or don't take risks. Personal suggestion.
Yeah, if you're running a raffle or an auction and you know that something was obtained illegally, and by obtained illegally I don't necessarily mean that it was stolen. Prime example, if I'm going to Great Eastern or I'm going to another event down in the US, you're only allowed to bring 2 bottles of wine with you, homebrew, across that border. You can mail 2 bottles per batch across the border ahead of you to a friend, but that's actually, you're gifting those to them. So you are running around the law, and if I'm doing that to supply something for a raffle down there, I can get in trouble, and that officer can be considered an accomplice to a crime. So reversing everything and that coming into Ontario, you as an officer for the event being sanctioned by the board, you can actually get the NPO in trouble because your friend ran around, they found a back alley way of doing something that wasn't above board. So you do have to make sure you get everything is thumbs up and above board. So.
Don't take risks. Be careful. Don't take risks that are unnecessary. Just, oh gosh, I can't stress this enough. Just know it's at risk, and make sure that you take care of others. Because
getting an NPO,
you could lose it, right? You could lose your NPO status. You can't risk that.
Getting it back is a hell of a lot of paperwork, and your local chancellor will come find you and kick you. There's a lot of work that goes into keeping these things, and then getting it back is even worse. So
that's a C violation, then they get banned, and it's all because you lost the liability insurance. It's terrible domino. It just. But so let's say that doesn't apply. Everything's good. Everything's up in order. Now what? If you are doing something like an auction, you want to talk with your autocrat and also with your cytocrat, which we will discuss later, about where you can set up and what you can use, right? If there's enough tables, how many tables you'll need to cover all the items. If you are setting up in a location that it's not somewhere where there's other activities happening to where they can't be monitored, that they can be tampered with or packed up and moved away and stored somewhere so that there's space for something like a class or something, or if it's in the way for feast, there's not enough tables for feast, and all of a sudden, right, you have all the tables are for the auction and there are no tables for feast now, right? You need to coordinate with your autocrat and with your cytocrat to make sure that there are tables, there's space, there's locations, and everything is on the up and up. You're also going to want to make sure that you figure out and coordinate with your autocrat on the times of these things. When it's going to start and when it's going to close, when the announcement's going to happen, when the changeover is going to happen, right? You're also going to want to work with your troll Crat, which we also will discuss later. Oh, these things, this works really well. We're just all going to be in the same class. Right, because there's going to be money handling, and your troll Crat, or even your chancellor, if present, right, you do not want to be the one dealing with all of the money, because it's a mess, right? You want to be making sure that you are coordinating everything, but then have the actual money transfers and all of that go through the individual that is keeping track of all the money, being able to keep it separate from your attendance money, and what you're, either if it's like, especially if you're donating it to something else, you got to keep that separate. You don't want it to just be like all compiled into one thing and just be like, oh, this is what we made. You're also going to want to write down as you're going everything, but we'll get into that during the event stuff. So you're going to want to also communicate with your troll Crat or chancellor. A lot of times they're the same person. So you're going to want to make sure that they have change, right? So that you can make change for individuals right there on site if you're doing this as a live auction. Because it's real bad when somebody buys a $5 item and they have a $50 bill and you can't break it. You don't want to have to deal with that later. You're also going to want to get any other items that you need to gather ahead of time. So if you are doing like a silent auction, you're going to want to print out sheets for all of the items. On those sheets, you're going to want to have the title of the item, just in case it gets misplaced from it. You're going to want to have the name of the individual that donated it, or made it, in some cases. You're going to want to have the starting bid, if there is one. Your starting bid might just be 0, and that's totally fine. You're also going to want to say the increments that you can go up by, because if you do not put, like, goes up by dollar amounts, you will have that person that will put a 1 penny increment every single time. And, yeah, and we don't have pennies in Canada anymore.
It rounds off. It's nice and easy. I'll totally do a penny. Come on.
This is why we can't have nice things. This is why. Alright, so again, right, you want to make sure that you're going at least by dollar increments, something that you can make change with, right? If you've only got 5s and you're doing everything in 5s and you don't have Canada, we call them loonies. Loonies or toonies. And you're in the States and you got dollars. Right, those are things you need to take into account. So whatever the change is, you want to make sure you have change. You're going to want to make sure that there's a line for the bidder's name, their mundane name, and character name, because if it just says Bob, that could be anyone. There could be 10 Bobs at an event, and you wouldn't know who that was. Also, you may only know them by their character name. So having the mundane name and the character name will make it easier for you to identify who it is. Also having a contact info for them, right? So a lot of times for like an event, it'll be like a cell phone. But make sure that there's a way that you can contact them. Because they may not be there when the auction ends, and when you're trying to, hand over the item, do the money exchange and all of that. If you can't get in contact with them, it holds up everything. So you want to make sure that you're in contact with those individuals. So having that line on there is super important. Yeah. Also having just a sign in general that says the start time and the end time, just so folks are very aware of when it ends. So the last thing you want is the end time to be unclear, and then all of a sudden somebody that has been just dedicated to coming like every 5 minutes for the whole event to make sure their item isn't, getting sniped by somebody. They didn't know when it ended, and all of a sudden some person just ran in, there wasn't a money thing, and they put a penny more, and all of a sudden they can't get the item, right? You don't want anyone to be super disappointed. don't want people to go by penny increments. Don't let people go by penny increments. Just not up here. We don't have pennies. Still weird. Can you tell them better? So better. But also, I don't miss pennies either.
Can I go by
Side
nickel
tangent.
increments?
Hard. Yeah.
Maybe
We
maybe
have a right.
dimes, quarters?
Yeah, right? Like you can, if you have the change. Make sure you have the change.
Yeah.
But yeah, have the schedules up there as well. Anything else that anyone would like to add before we get to the... oh, I'm sorry. One more thing. If you are doing an auction that is not a silent auction, right? So let's say you have an auctioneer. Somebody that will, after court, stand up and go... we got not even is anyone there, and the one over there, and the two. That thing. That's my impression of auctioneers. It's terrible. Sorry. You're gonna want to have that person at a time.
Bard,
Right.
Verbal
Just
caster bard, go for them. They can ramble off spells just.
they're so good.
Rapid
So
fire.
good. Up here, I actually have a Paragon Bard that always tends to do mine, and he's magnificent. Talk to your bards. You can also talk to your herald if your park has a herald. They are very used to talking in front of crowds loudly. So, they might be a bard too, so. Actually, now thinking of it, yeah, last time I had a herald, it was also a bard. Talk to your bards. But yeah, so you want to make sure that you have that individual ahead of time. Last thing you want to do is, be standing up at court and be like, okay, we're gonna have the auction now. Does anyone want to do the thing? 'Cause I don't want to talk. Like, don't be that person. Make sure that everything's prepared and somebody's willing to do so and knows what they're doing. So, yeah, you're going to want to get that person ahead of time if that's the type of auction you're doing. Yeah. Is there anything else before we move on to the during the event portion? Going once, going twice. Lisa, going once, going twice. So, see what I did there? Terrible. Okay, so again, also if you're doing an online thing, you're going to be wanting to make posts periodically throughout this time period before the event is happening, especially if you're doing an online auction, right? The more it's visible, the more chances that you're going to have folks be willing to donate, be willing to auction on those items, bid on those items. So just communication is going to be super, super important, keeping visual, keeping consistent. So you're going to want all that up. Also, even if you are doing in-person things, something you can do is post a teaser posts, so you can like tease some items, right? So folks are excited knowing, oh, that's going to that event. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm totally gonna bid on that, right? Because folks will end up bringing extra money with them if they know that there's an item that they're definitely gonna want to try to win. Sometimes when you go to an event, you're just really thinking of just the bare minimums and what do I absolutely need to bring. And if they don't know that there's an auction happening, they might not bring any additional funds. Especially if you're doing a camping trip, right? You might not have the ability to do something like a card interaction sort of thing, right? Now, if you happen to have a cube and that sort of thing, that's awesome. I know that there's some individuals with that capability. Sometimes you could just do something as simple as an e-transfer, but getting a little ahead of myself. So, during the event itself, this is where this is it. That's when you're going to do the thing. So, at the beginning of the event, when there are announcements being made, if you yourself are not making the announcement, ask your autocrat to make the announcement for you. Make sure that it is very clear. Your start time, your end time, the location of the items. Again, this is if there is an auction, right? There are other different fundraisers that can happen. So, but those tend to happen online, and they usually happen before the event happens. So I'm going to be specifically addressing the things that happen at events themselves, which is usually auctions at this point. So, Again, right from the get-go, it's going to be very clear when's your start time, when's your end time, the type of auction it is, the rules, the location of the items, and how to go about bidding on them. Now, all throughout the event, after games are happening, right, if there's any sort of downtime, just go over, make an announcement, be like, hey, remember, folks, we're doing an auction for this cause. We could really use your help. The items are over there. If you could go check them out, see if there's anything you want to bid on. Again, right, the time it closes is 6 p.m. right before court, right? That's going to be the time. Make random announcements throughout the day. And make sure that if it is something that is ending after court, right, that it is announced at court that it will be ending at X time, and any rules that will be, happening with that. You're also going to want to set up, right? This is where you've got the tables, you've got your location, you're going to have the pieces of paper with each of the items, and you're going to have everything displayed. Be very, very cautious if you do not have an indoor location, because weather affects things. You might have items that are, let's say you have this gorgeous watercolor painted item, and it is not in a frame, and it is projected to rain that day. You're not going to just have that on a picnic table, because it will get destroyed. Just like a Dragon Master tournament, you want to have respect for all of the items that are being donated. Folks put a lot of time, effort, and sacrifice, in some cases, to donate their items to you. Please be courteous of those, treat them with respect, and make sure that folks are getting what they have signed up to pay for, right? You don't want them to be throwing down $100 on an item and it be destroyed before it ever gets handed off to them. So be cautious. Be sure that the items are in a safe location. Make sure that weather is not a concern. Wind also. Oh gosh, wind is a thing. The first auction I ever did, my location got pulled last minute and I was forced to do it outside. And it was extraordinarily windy. And we couldn't keep the papers with the items. So it became this crazy mission where everyone just started finding rocks. Just rocks everywhere. We had like 30 items and everyone's like, okay, rocks, go find them. And I had an amazing team of individuals that were willing to help and find things. And we found just all sorts of things, and we were able to weight everything down, and it worked really well. But then when we had to move to court, right, and all of a sudden we have all these items and we need to now go to court, and the changeover is supposed to be happening at court, right? Again, last minute. If you are an autocrat, please don't have a last minute change where all of a sudden you just are like, oh no, I'll just do it outside, it's fine. It's not fine. Please do not. There's so much more that goes into these things than just simply changing things on the fly like that. Because a lot of folks have things that are pre-planned, and it does muck up a lot of things. And it might be things that you're not thinking of, right? You might not think, oh gosh, the wind is going to be a huge, huge issue and make it really not realistic. So I was able to get everything moved over to the other facility, and then we were able to find tables, and we finished it indoors. So that worked out great, but that should have been where it started. So in the end, it worked out okay, but you want to make sure that sort of thing, you get it inside. If you can, have those items inside. It's going to save you a lot of time and heartache. So that's all set up. You're going to want to make sure that you're monitoring the items throughout the day, right? You hope that individuals are good and honest and honorable individuals, and they're not going to steal things. But you know what? It happens. Also, super unmaliciously, sometimes kids will just be like, oh, a cool thing to play with. Yay! And then be messing with it and then walk off with it. They're not going, I'm thieving this, right? But it happens. Sorry, go for it.
I've had little Jack run up to one of my tournament rings and grab the cone, like from the boundary cones, and run away with it and go play with it. And you're like, I'm in the middle of a fight. There's a fight going on here.
Oh, bless that boy.
He wasn't being malicious. He wasn't trying. He's just like, hey, look, a toy to play with, and ran off with it.
And
cones
kids
are fun.
So-
Okay?
Kids,
They're
I mean,
orange.
cones are fun. To be fair, I mean, I don't know.
I had several in my dorm room in college.
Right? Kids aren't gonna be thinking stuff like that. They're not gonna think of cause and effect. They're not gonna realize what's happening, right? They just go, oh look, there's just a table of toys here and no one's playing with these? Alright. Yay! Right? Kids are just like innocent creatures that do not understand such things, and yeah, they'll grab your stuff and go, and you won't know about it. You'll also, right, you're gonna have folks that will also knee-jerk and go, this has been stolen, we must find the thief and COC ban them, and it could just be a kid. He could be 5 feet away from the table playing with it, right? It just if you're monitoring
Some of them
it,
will hide
make
under
sure
the
that
table.
somebody is monitoring it, then that is not going to happen, right? Think also of having it in a location where, right, look at Troll. Your Troll Crat, or the Troll team will have to stay with the Troll, right? They're not going to just up and leave that. So if you have it in sight of them, right, they might be able to help you if you need breaks throughout the day, if you need a washroom break, if you partake in such things as smoke break, getting coffee. I'm just gonna name all the things that I can think that Phelan or Feywellen would need as Trollocrat.
3 times today. I think
Right.
that's the third Phelan thing.
Because I
I'm
love
just
you.
gonna adopt this thing. We are the same person. Sorry, Phelan. Nathan, you're now my husband. Sorry. Goodness, this has been years.
So surprising.
Years. Up to that, man. She's amazing. I got off track there. I haven't said anything for 20 minutes.
I love all y'all. Things happen.
Sometimes,
It's like switching identities, and all of a sudden you just have a different person, and the table still needs to be watched. So just doesn't matter if everyone's just identities switch and you have like a Freaky Friday moment. So long as the table's being watched, I mean, it's fine. This is fine. This is fine. So yeah, right, you're gonna make sure that those things are being watched. Oh gosh, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Try not to get ahead of myself. Is there anything else before I move on to the next section? Barring us all of a sudden switching identities and all of a sudden we're different people. just have an
this is
urge
one
to
of
drink
those,
coffee that I've never had before.
This is something where you're going to want to coordinate with Secure Crat. When you are finishing up your auctions, it's good to have someone around. And as much as children won't take things because it's malicious, children are just innocent. I have seen in my own office during a silent auction, staff, adults, get into a fist fight on the stairs over something. Having someone there of authority helps keep that to a minimum. So, yeah, it doesn't hurt to have them around. Hopefully everyone behaves, but sometimes somebody really wanted something and they're going to try to break the rules to get it. So just try to make sure you have more staff around when everything is finishing
Also
up.
for de-escalation, sometimes you'll have an individual that will snipe an item while John appears. Yeah, that happens. He's an immortal vampire. He'll just pop up anywhere. He could be behind me right now. You don't know. Just things you just gotta be aware of. Right? It's gonna happen. One of these days, it's just show up. Fantastic individual for Security Crat. Talk to John if ever at your event. Lord Valiant. Important thing, sometimes you're gonna have somebody who's really wants an item, and at the last minute somebody will snipe it, and that person will be very upset. Having a Security Crat to just even de-escalate, right? Talk him down, get him to walk it off, just maybe just vent to them. Right. There's going to be
just
different,
the presence.
different things. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, just their presence will de-escalate a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So,
ideally, you never run into this.
Ideally, right?
It's super rare.
It is super rare, super rare. But you're right. It's important to just risk assessment analysis, right? Know the things that can happen, prepare for the worst, hope for the best, right? In most cases, you're not going to end up with these things, right? You're going to be people like, dang it, right? But it won't be like, I want to punch this guy, right? Like you're not gonna get too extreme like that.
Yeah.
Is it possible? Yeah, anything is possible, but hopefully
there could be
not realistic.
You
What
can put stuff in place that's not as like a pain in the butt. Like when you lose, I've been to auctions where people have literally gone up a penny, even though they don't exist anymore, in like the written silent auction, and then they win, and then that's usually when fist fights and annoyance happen. So you can put sort of like predetermined rules and make them very clear ahead of time, kind of like maybe
don't have
have
pennies.
to
We
at
don't
least,
have pennies on this contract. Just gonna say it 10 more times. Pete stuff.
Yeah, if you actually have a minimum increment of $1 per bid, and say I slide in at the last second, and do a $1 increment on something that Feywellen was trying to get, that's still fair. But if I slide in and go 0.01, that's kind of trashy. That's gonna get some hurt feelings,
and if it says on the rules specifically that you need dollar increments, which it should, you should be very clear on that rule set, right? You as the fund Crat would have to state this item, right, this bid is not accepted, that this was not an increment that is allowed, that the previous person, the bid, had it at the correct amount at the time, they get it, right? Things like that, right? Enforcing the rules that you set. That's important. So before you start exchanging money and before you start exchanging items, it is important to write down everything, right? You're going to have all of the sheets, write down how much every item got and who got the item. At this point, super, super, super important. Folks will come in and try to assist you. Just thinking that this is helpful, where they will go, oh, this person got this item, here you go. This person got this, here you go, before they pay. Do not let this happen. Do not let them grab an item, hold it, get near it until the transaction is done. Do not let volunteers come in and just start handing out the items. Do not. Have them line up, deal with one person at a time, make sure everything is being accounted for before there is any transfer of items, right? And if you talk with them and they need to do an e-transfer, they need to, I need to get to my car and go to the thing, you hold on to that item. Go, okay, it'll be here when you get back. Do not hand it over. Because you will forget, they will forget, and all of a sudden they have a free item. And then also, right, if you mark it down that this person has purchased this item, that it's this amount, and then you go hand that in, and that transaction hasn't happened, your numbers will not match up. And when doing something with a fundraiser and your numbers do not match up, that is a serious issue. So you need to make sure that it is done properly and every number is accounted for. If you have issues with math, like me, have somebody assist you. Ask for help. Whenever you have an issue with something, ask for help, right? Make sure that the Trollocrat or the Chancellor is there present, helping and assisting with you, making sure that they can make change for individuals right there on the spot, that isn't something that will be taken care of or forgotten later on, right then and there. Have them right beside you. You just be the person that says, this individual, this much. You need change? Okay, please talk to the Trollocrat. Trollocrat makes a thing. Okay, is it good? They have it. The money's in. Here is your item. Next. Right? Don't even grab the money yourself. Don't touch it. Right? let all of the money be handled with somebody that is dealing with the finances. Right? The more hands things go through, the more things can get messed up, right? You could drop it, right? They could give you 2 bills and you drop them and you pick up one and you hand it over and all of a sudden you're out that amount. And somebody goes, "Oh, did I just drop that? That's probably mine they put in their pocket." All of a sudden your numbers are off. Simple little things like that can actually happen, and I've seen them. I've seen them happen before. It's bad. It's real bad. So yeah, you got to be super cautious. Anything before I move on to the next part? Also remember, if you folks have any questions at any point, again, remember to tag me in chat, let me know, and I'll make sure that everyone can hear what the questions are. I'm also on our Discord for the 9 Blades featured park night, so if you have questions there, feel free to post and tag me in said post so that I can see it. We will answer as we go. Let me see where we're at. Okay, so it's all done. You've got all the numbers. Go to your autocrat. Let them know. Hand over your sheet going, "Here is all of the things. I have worked with them. They confirm that they have received the dollar amounts, that it has been separated from the other finances of the event. Here is everything," so that the autocrat can do the P&L, which if you watch our first video is explained what a P&L is. So that is the event.
You make sure you hand over the money with the piece of paper.
Yeah.
Nope, that goes still.
Goes to Troll. Troll is literally going to be the one grabbing the money as you go. Don't touch it. Just don't touch it. You are one with the sheet, organizing, making note of who has what item, how much they gave, but you have the Trollocrat be the one handling the money. Right? So they are getting the money before you ever hand off that stuff. Don't even touch it. Don't even touch it.
Good is to have receipts. So you have given me money, I have given you items, sign receipt, thank you very much. Add it with the money that you're giving to Troll, because then you have a paper trail that Troll has with that money, which should all be in a separate envelope in the box, in my opinion.
Never even thought to sign it. That's actually fantastic. Yeah. I'm going to do that from now on.
Receipt books are like $1 at Dollarama. They're great, they're wonderful, and they're easy to fill out.
Mm-hmm.
And as a side note, they are not tax claimable charity receipts. These are just receipts you have given money.
Yep.
They are not claimable. We are not a charity. Sorry, waving. Tell Tyler I'm sorry. I'm moving too much.
If both people are signing, you can use a blank piece of paper as a receipt.
Yeah.
It's just to record. You get some carbon paper, you slide it between, you fill it out, you're good.
I usually
also, right,
just,
if you have the physical sheets, right, as you're going through, right, have it be on a clipboard, right? I mean, clipboards are just cheapy things, right? You've got everything, right? You've got, you have their contact info, you have their name, you have their orc name, you have their mundane name, you have their contact, what item they got, how much they paid for it, right? At the bottom, just have them sign that they received that, right? Literally say you have received your item and you have paid for said item, and just have them sign it right there. You've got a stack of papers on a clipboard, right? You go, "Here, autocrat," right? That, or right, you take a bunch of screenshots for yourself, whatever, right? But at the end of the day, make sure that you are in the clear. You have done everything to the letter of the law, that you have made sure that the items have gone out, the money has come in, that you have not interacted with the money, that it is all 100% with the Trollocrat, the person that is supposed to have it, and that all of the records are accounted for, and that the autocrat has those records.
So I'm gonna say honestly, you should be putting the records with the money. The Trollocrat, it's so as you said, it's easy to just drop something on the floor. It's easy to mix up the event money with the donation money. It's so easy. It's easier if you have everything for the auction fund, any kind of fundraising together in like the thing.
So just hand it to your Trollocrat when you have them deal with all of the finances and go, make sure that you get that to the autocrat. Yeah, Ziploc bag. Get a giant Ziploc bag.
Envelopes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Envelopes.
You can get the ones with the string.
Oh yeah, the manila fold. Yeah. Yeah. There's right.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Right. There's different ways to do this. But yeah, no, solid advice. You don't want to muck around with this kind of stuff, right? You don't want to deal. You don't want to make sure that like anything that can go wrong with something where you're dealing with funding, right? You have to be so careful, especially if you have a charity involved. You have got to be on the ball with that, right? Because again, you could risk our liability insurance. Don't be that person that risks our liability insurance for a silly mistake. Make sure that it's getting to where it needs to go, that it's all together, that it is all accounted for, and that you have a witness to everything, right? Don't go off to the back corner, grab all the money, and have just grab your item. Just everyone grab your stuff. Just remember to give me stuff as you go. Don't do that, right? Make sure you have the Trollocrat there. They have everything. They're seeing it happen. They know, they have second eyes on it. You have the witness there. You have them be the only ones actually dealing with making change, with accepting the money, keeping it all together, keeping it separate from the intake of any other finances that you're getting from the event, like Troll. You have to keep that separate. It's so important. And the bigger the event is, the more money is going to be coming in, and the more you're going to have to make sure that is airtight. So don't play around with it. Just don't play around. Don't mess. Take all these things into account. Be cautious. So, in theory, everything has gone well. The event is over. You're gonna double check all those numbers, making sure that the Trollocrat 100% has it, but make sure that Trollocrat is communicating all of that to the autocrat so that they can perform the P&L. If you have had any sort of assistance, if you've had like a team and they've done just a top-notch job, remember to put in award recommendations for folks that for folks that are in the team with you, making sure that their work is recognized. Because a lot of times, team members especially, let alone Crats, will get overlooked when it comes to awards. So be sure that you're looking out for your team and making sure that they are recognized. And also, right, you're probably going to be the only one that's going to know exactly what they did to be able to vouch for the work that they put into it. So be sure that you're doing so. Especially if you have individuals that have donated, make sure that you make like a post after the event thanking everybody, right? Thank your team if you had a team. Thank the individuals that donated, that bid for those items, and if you have done a thing like, I've made an item and everybody that donated item gets a raffle ticket for that piece of art that I just made, right? Have the results posted if we want it. Have a picture of the item even, just like, here you go, this is what you're getting. Organize the switch over of how they're going to get it and all of that. Any post-event things, you're going to want to make any sort of post announcements. That's when to do the thing. Other than that, if you are doing an online auction, you're also going to want to make sure that you coordinate how those items are going to get to the individuals, if they need to be shipped, and making sure that it's clear that how that's going to work, especially right in the rules. You should have a thing specifying that if they're getting it shipped, that it that is an extra fee, so that you're not going to take away all of the money that was donated to ship the item now. It's usually good to try to do a thing to where having things be brought to the next big event that happens, usually that's a really good time to do switchovers. But make sure that they're there, or there's somebody from their park that's there that can get it to them. Make sure that you are keeping in communication to make sure that those items do in fact get to the individuals that have purchased them. So that's going to happen after the event, usually. So you want to make sure that you keep in contact, right? You check in to see if it got there, making sure that it was done, especially for some things are made, right? People would be like, I will make you a custom X. Make sure you check in with them to make sure that that actually happened, to make sure that the item was made and that the item was given and received. You really don't want somebody throwing down $100 for a thing, right? Again, and then the artist just never made it, never handed it off, or made it and never handed it off, right? You want to make sure that all of that is legit and taken care of. So you are the one responsible for organizing it. Make sure you follow through. Yeah, and also if you have any sort of things like e-transfers, PayPal, stuff like that, you're going to take screenshots and get records of all of that and send those off. Again, right, to your Crat, to your Autocrat. I know I've had an absolutely amazing fundraiser Crat for almost every single event that I have run. It's always the same person so far. So Kristen Oberdeen, you're amazing. Thank you. And she just does a phenomenal job, and she just keeps records like a beast, and always has everything, right? Records for days. Oh, which is now Lisa, because they have changed peoples. They're different people now. Hi. Hello, Kristen. She just looks so different. It hasn't been so long since I've seen you. Goodness.
No, Liz. I understand. Okay, that's okay. I understand. She deserves every accolade she gets. That lady is amazing.
Amazing, right? If you have questions on how to be a great fun Crat, I seriously, Phelan. She's a great resource for it. I would definitely suggest having a good chat with her for suggestions and ideas. Also, just other individuals. Gosh, we've had so many individuals that have run fundraisers in this principality that are phenomenal. What was it, Lisa?
Veta!
Yeah!
Sarah Silman.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. Saint Veta is so imaginative and passionate, and she sacrifices so much, and gives so much, and it comes in return, right? What folks are willing to donate and to give for those types of things, because she does so much. I'd like to give a shout out also for I cannot pronounce your character name, so I'm just going to say Allie. Allie White. Grace Christian. She goes by multiple names.
Psylocke. Silasok?
Yeah, I can't say the name.
Mushroom lady.
The mushroom lady. The mushroom lady. She has done an amazing amount of fundraisers as well. She's the one that is the head for LARP for Mental Health. She's done an extraordinary job with that. Even right now, Squire Lady Daisy LaFleur Esquire, Moneybags LaFleur Esquire, is doing a fundraiser right now, so that our principality can afford to make awards for folks, so that artists can be paid, which is a phenomenal thing that we haven't had before. So if you're watching this, she's running that. So check that out. But again, right, an artist who's trying to make sure that other artists are getting paid, and giving up her own art to do it, which is extraordinary. We have so many individuals up here that do so many fundraisers and do so much work. Gosh, John, he's been donating like crazy. Riley has been donating like crazy. Just folks are making things, giving things, right? John's doing 6 more bows for Bot D. I just, it's incredible. It's incredible. Just look around and see the folks and recognize them and make sure that they know, just like, oh, sorry, Lisa, I'm having a hard time hearing you.
I'm like, can you hear me?
Yeah.
No. Tyler. Salvador. Your husband.
Yes.
With the t-shirts.
Yes. How quickly I forget. Yeah, Tyler just did a fundraiser where he made t-shirts. And that went over well. Also, yay, we have t-shirts. I bought so many of them. Right, and they're all different. All of them are different, and they do things differently, and the auctions are different, the fundraisers are different. There isn't just one way to do this, and that's it. Do it this way or else. No. Just use your imagination, think of all the different ways it can be done. You're limited by your imagination and the law. Imagination and the law. So find yourself a happy in there. But yeah, there's folks out there and they're amazing, and be sure to get some advice from them when trying to do things yourself, right? Make sure you don't have that echo chamber where you're hyper focused on your own thing. Look around you and ask questions. Set some ideas, sounding board. So if there's nothing else with that, then I think we are clear to go to the next section. I'm going to also get a new ice pack. I am recovering from spinal procedure. Okay, so also if anyone has any questions, again, before we wrap up and move to the next section, thank you, Tyler. We will move on. Again, 20-second delay. Please tag me in any of the questions that you have for us, either on Discord for the featured park for the 9 Blades, or in our Twitch chat here. Remember, 20-second delay there, live time on the Discord. Other than that, also, sorry, the delay dance for Rojavia, silly dance, ending with the jazz hands, as is tradition. So if that is it.